Neville Goddard, The Feeling is the Secret, 1944. It's going to be a good book. Remember, this is after Neville's army experience, so this is going to this is when he goes into gear, I think, so it's going to be great. Of many books, there is no end. Ecclesiastes 11:12. He that would perfect himself in any art whatsoever, let him betake himself to the reading of some sure and certain works upon his art, many times over. For to read many books upon your art produceth confusion rather than learning. Old saying. Foreword. This book is concerned with the art of realizing your desire. It gives you an account on the mechanism used in the production of the visible world. It is a small book, but not slight. There is a treasure in it, a clearly defined road to the realization of your dreams. Doesn't that sound wonderful? I mean, doesn't that sound wonderful? If you were a kid and you heard that the realization of your dreams is this way, you'd be like, okay. Were it possible to carry conviction to another by means of reasoned arguments and detailed instances, this book would be many times its size. It is seldom possible, however, to do so by means of written statements or arguments, since to the suspended judgment it always seems plausible to say that the author was dishonest or deluded and therefore his evidence was tainted. Very long sentence. I'm going to repeat it. Were it possible to carry conviction to another by means of reasoned... Oh, no, excuse me. Yeah, let's go for that. Were it possible... let's just clean it all up like brushing tangled hair, okay? Were it possible to carry conviction to another by means of reasoned arguments and detailed instances, this book would be many times its size. It is seldom possible, however, to do so by means of written statements or arguments, since to the suspended judgment it always seems plausible to say that the author was dishonest or deluded and therefore his evidence was tainted. Consequently, I have purposely omitted all arguments and testimonials and simply challenged the open-minded reader to practice the law of consciousness as revealed in this book. Personal success will prove far more convincing than all the books that could be written on the subject. Neville. Chapter 1, Law and its Operation. It's going to get good. The world and all within it is man's conditioned consciousness objectified. Consciousness is the cause as well as the substance of the entire world. So it is to consciousness that we must turn if we would discover the secret of creation. Knowledge of the law of consciousness and the method of operating this law will enable you to accomplish all that you desire in life. Armed with a working knowledge of this law, you can build and maintain an ideal world. Consciousness is the one and only reality, not figuratively, but actually. This reality may, for the sake of clarity, be likened unto a stream in which divided into two parts, the conscious and the subconscious. Likened unto a stream which is divided into two parts, the conscious and the subconscious. In order to intelligently operate the law of consciousness, it is necessary to understand the relationship between the conscious and the subconscious. The conscious is personal and selective. The subconscious is impersonal and non-selective. The conscious is the realm of effect. The subconscious is the realm of cause. Remember that. The conscious is the realm of effect. The subconscious is the realm of cause. These two aspects are the male and female divisions of consciousness. The conscious is male, the subconscious is female. The conscious generates ideas and impresses these ideas on the subconscious. The subconscious receives ideas and gives form and expression to them. By this law, first conceiving an idea and then impressing the idea conceived on the subconscious, all things evolve out of consciousness. And without this sequence, there is not anything made that is made. The conscious impresses the subconscious, while the subconscious expresses all that is impressed upon it. Alrighty, all that is, I am God, right here, right in the middle. Figuratively speaking, center of everything. You, I, this is you, this is me, this is the old me, this is the newer me, this is another me coming, this is another me of the past, doesn't matter, this is your brother, this is your mother. All these are self-concepts. These are also could be called states. But in each of these self-concepts is within us all that is, I am, which is our source. We're all plugged into that source. The conscious impresses the subconscious while the subconscious expresses all that is impressed upon it. The conscious impresses. If you're here, this is your present self-conception that you have. This is where you are currently and you want to be here. You're single and you're not married, but you want to be married and you want to be happy in a loving relationship. Where you are here, the conscious impresses the subconscious. The male impresses the female. The male of you impresses the female of you. You impress your consciousness. Once that impression is made, while the subconscious expresses all that is impressed upon it. When you impress that consciousness, which is the subconscious, that expresses all that is impressed upon it. If you're here and you're not married and you want to be happily married and loving and have a relationship and you impress your consciousness with that, you feel it real as you fall to sleep in your sats, your state akin to sleep. You're feeling yourself with the ring on your finger. You're feeling yourself in the marriage, in the spooning position, in your happy, loving relationship. That impression goes into your consciousness, and that consciousness, your subconsciousness, expresses that impression. It becomes, in 3D reality, a new event. A bridge of incidents occurs. You meet somebody, you go on a date, you go out dancing, you go out to a concert, you go to dinner, you find yourself eating the same foods, enjoying the same things, speaking the same language, finishing each other's sentences, etc. You don't know how or why, but miraculously, this thing just came together because you impressed your subconscious. You did the impression. No one else did it for you. You did it. The desire came from within, of course, but that desire is just trying to give you the solution to what you want. The desire itself is one thing, the urge to be married and in love. The desire is also has the solution embedded within it. So the desire gives you the urge for the relationship, then that urge helps you impress. The subconscious does not originate ideas, but accepts as true those which the conscious mind feels to be true, and in a way, known only to itself, objectifies the accepted ideas. Objectification objectifies the accepted ideas. Therefore, through his power to imagine and feel and his freedom to choose the idea he will entertain, man has control over creation. Control of the subconscious is accomplished through control of your ideas and feelings. The mechanism of creation is hidden in the very depth of the subconscious, the female aspect or womb of creation. The subconscious transcends reason and is independent of induction. It contemplates a feeling as a fact, existing within itself, and on this assumption proceeds to give expression to it. You must be very careful with what you imagine and what you feel as real, because it will be in your world real. When I say be very careful, all I'm saying is be very selective. What is it I want to experience and have as a feeling of my reality? Feel that. Feel what you want to enjoy. Go into your closet, close the door, you're in privacy, you're fishing, you're hunting. What is it I do want to experience and have as the joy of my life? Impress what that feels like onto your consciousness. It's going into your subconscious. Impress, what does that feel like? What does it feel like to hear my friend tell me the good news that I am that? That is an impression. That is a conception which happens here in your current limited reality, which is because you want to be here in this limited self. That impression becomes expressed. The creative process begins with an idea, and its cycle runs its course as a feeling and ends in a volition to act. That volition to act could be simply, oh, I don't want to go to that concert with my girlfriends because, I don't know, we're going to run into a bunch of guys, and how do I have to act? I don't feel comfortable. Or go to the bar or go to dinner or whatever it is. But the volition to act, after you make this impression, the volition to act, okay, I'm going to go. You guys talk me into it. And there, when you're at the dinner, you meet somebody. Somebody notices you and you notice them, and before you know it, fireworks are flying. Ideas are impressed on the subconscious through the medium of feeling. No idea can be impressed on the subconscious until it is felt. But once felt, be it good, bad, or indifferent, it must be expressed. This is why you must be careful of what you impress upon yourself. If you think all men are evil or are the devil or are the worst thing a woman could ever want, that kind of thing you impress yourself with, or because you saw a movie that said that or showed you that, you're going to impress your subconscious. You don't want that junk. You don't want others' beliefs. You want your new reality to be the opposite of what you have been using before, and is why you're single. You can change this. All men are loving, caring, nurturing. All men are loving, caring, and nurturing. All men are loving, caring, nurturing. You impress your subconscious with that. You've now forgiven men, and you now will have an experience with men. You'll say hi, you'll be communicative, you'll talk, you'll have interaction. It'll be a whole different playing field. When you impress the negative here, you're only going to get objectified negative experience. So you have to change it. The root of this is you. The root of this is your subconscious impressions that you have been serving. You need to change those if they've been limiting your experience. Because good, bad, or indifferent, it will be expressed. No matter what you put in, it's going to come out. What's the old computer saying? Garbage in, garbage out. You want to watch it. Try and serve in the good. What you want to experience is what you're going to get anyway. What you're going to get and what you're going to experience is what you fed. Feeling is the one and only medium through which ideas are conveyed to the subconscious. Now, it isn't just language. It isn't just affirmation. It's what you feel. It isn't like I'm going to tell myself as I go to sleep, I am married, I am married. No, it's not affirmation. It's not. There are a nice amount of people that believe affirmation is the one and only way, and that's wonderful. It is a way, like all the other ways, that you get to become self-persuaded. What we're talking about right now is self-persuasion. Any way you can get to self-persuasion is a good thing. So if you're using affirmation and while you're affirming, you're feeling it, then you're on the right track, because the feeling is what we're talking about. So affirmation is not to be outlawed or ruled out as the solution, but it's the feeling that's the important piece we're trying to discuss here. So if you can mix feeling with affirmation, if in case you are just doing affirmation, drum up the feeling, bring the feeling in. Feeling is the one and only medium through which ideas are conveyed to the subconscious, because you have to get to the subconscious. Therefore, the man who does not control his feeling may easily impress the subconscious with undesirable states. By control of feeling is not meant restraint or suppression of your feeling, but rather the disciplining of self to imagine and entertain only such feeling as contributes to your happiness. Very wonderful sentence. By control of feeling is not meant restraint or suppression of your feeling, but rather the disciplining of self to imagine and entertain only such feeling as contributes to your happiness. What makes you happy? Feel those things. Control of your feeling is all important to a full and happy life. We could stop and pause and take in that one sentence. Control of your feeling is all important to a full and happy life. What is it you feel about anything? It's that is what you've been impressing. What do you feel about men? What do you feel about women? What do you feel about work? What do you feel about this? What do you feel about that? Your feelings are what you've been impressing into your subconscious. Therefore, your experience has been under your control. You have been this whole time the creator of what you're experiencing. Your imagination mixed with your feelings is how you are creating what you are experiencing. So to back off of this and understand that it's been you the whole time, you can withdraw into your feelings and brew new feelings. I want to feel happy and in love with a partner. Boom. Objectification happens because you felt it real as you went to sleep. I want to feel wealthy. I want to feel healthy. What does that feel like to be healthy? What does that feel like to be wealthy? What does it feel like to go to my computer and do all my bank transfers? I don't have to worry. All my balances are at zero. What does that feel like? What does it feel like that I go to the doctor and he says, I don't need to see you for another 6 months or a year if you want. Everything looks good. What does that feel like when you hear that good news? Congratulations. We don't need to see you for another year or two. If you want to come by for a checkup, that's fine, but you're a solid, healthy person. We haven't seen any like you in such a long time. It's rare, but congratulations. Or your banker calling you like you're the Beverly Hillbillies. If you haven't seen that show, you might look it up. But this family had struck gold, and they had so much money in the bank that the bankers were always kissing their butt all the time, trying to see how they could keep them happy because and this family didn't really care about that oil money, but they had lots of it. It's a very fun and sarcastic show, but it's funny. Control of your feeling is all important to a full and happy life. Never entertain an undesirable feeling nor think sympathetically about wrong in any shape or form. Now, this is a big warning. Never entertain an undesirable feeling nor think sympathetically about any wrong in any shape or form. If someone else is telling you and they want you to share in their belief that something's wrong, they send you a video, they send you a whatever, social media post, and they want you to share in the misery. They want you to commiserate with them on what they believe about that post or about that story or whatever it is. Never entertain an undesirable feeling, nor think sympathetically about wrong in any shape or form, because you're going to impress your subconscious, and that's what's been creating your reality. What you experience through the objectification of that impression is how your life happens. Do not dwell on the imperfection of yourself or others. I remember long ago when my teacher taught me about that word perfect. I have a certain quality that has me leaning towards that, desiring that word continuously. And so in the beginning, which was over 3 decades ago, she would say, she asked me point blank, what can you name, if anything in the world, just name one thing for me, is perfect. And I sat there and I was stumped. I was just like, what is perfect? Oh my gosh, I don't think anything's perfect. She trapped me. She trapped me because I had then admitted nothing in the world is perfect. And then she asked me, well, then why do you compare everything of yourself against something you just admitted doesn't exist? And I indeed did it on the cassette tape because she was recording the class. I ask you, what if you can't name anything in this world that is perfect? The same question. Which brings us back to Neville. Do not dwell on the imperfection of yourself or others. I hope the pain of my learning that lesson helped you, because it was a doozy. It took me a while. It took me a minute to deal with that. To do so is to impress the subconscious with these limitations. If you're looking for perfection, it's not the way. What you do want done unto you, what you do not want done what you do not want done unto you, do not feel that it is done unto you or another. Don't play victim. This is the whole law of a full and happy life. Everything else is commentary. This one bit right here, this one half of the paragraph is all of it. Starting with, by control of feeling is not meant restraint or suppression of your feeling, but rather the disciplining of self to imagine and entertain only such feeling as contributes to your happiness. Control of your feeling is all important to a full and happy life. Never entertain an undesirable feeling, nor think sympathetically about wrong in any shape or form. Do not dwell on the imperfection of yourself or others. To do so is to impress the subconscious with these limitations. What you do not want done unto you, do not feel that it is done unto you or another. This is the whole law of a full and happy life. Everything else is commentary. Now, I don't know what's coming in this book yet, but that right there, you could stop and really just sit with that for a long while. It's the most impactful statement. Wow. Okay, but we got to keep moving. Every feeling makes a subconscious impression. Every feeling makes a subconscious impression, and unless it is counteracted by a more powerful feeling of an opposite nature, must be expressed. Every feeling makes a subconscious impression, and unless it is counteracted by a more powerful feeling of an opposite nature, must be expressed. The dominant of two feelings is the one expressed. I am healthy is a stronger feeling than I will be healthy. To feel I will be is to confess I am not. I am is stronger than I am not. What you feel you are always dominates what you feel you would like to be. What you feel you are always dominates what you would like to be. Therefore, to be realized, the wish must be felt as a state that it is, rather than a state that it is not. What you feel you are always dominates what you feel you would like to be. Therefore, to be realized, the wish must be felt as a state that is, rather than a state that is not. Sensation precedes manifestation, and it is the foundation upon which all manifestation rests. Be careful of your moods and feelings, for there is an unbroken connection between your feelings and your visible world. Your body is an emotional filter and bears the unmistakable marks of your prevalent emotions. Emotional disturbances, especially suppressed emotions, are the causes of all disease. To feel intensely about a wrong without voicing or expressing that feeling is the beginning of disease, dis-ease in both body and environment. Oh my goodness. Oh boy. That was a very big point when I studied the Seth material. There was a point, and I think it was the ESP class sessions, that Seth was telling a student, I believe, that when they had a neighbor that was very loud, and the neighbor playing the stereo loud and being disturbing to all the other neighbors. I think it might have been even to Jane and Rob, of a neighbor they had while they had neighbors in their hill house. They had the urge to go tell them and knock on the door and say, hey, you need to keep it down. And Seth said that it was a responsibility to go knock on the door because they needed to hear it as much as you needed to say it. And if you didn't go, you weren't taking responsibility of that whole situation. And it isn't to be out there correcting everybody in the world. It was that the event was happening to draw you into responsibility, because that's where you needed to be. This sentence, to feel intensely about a wrong without voicing or expressing that feeling, meaning go over there and knock on the door and say, hey, keep it down. Hey, can you hold it down? Whatever, is the beginning of disease. To feel intensely about those neighbors being too loud and not voicing it, not going and knocking on that door, is to feel intensely without voicing or expressing that feeling. It's the beginning of disease. dis-ease in both body and environment. I don't know if we're going to hit it now, but he says in other areas or lectures, be angry but sin not. And I might as well throw it in here, but be angry means voice it, let it express. Don't hold it back about what you feel is a wrong. Be angry but sin not. And what that means is you express your anger at the grocery store, at the drive-thru, wherever it is. If you feel it, you express it. But sin not means as you fall to sleep, you don't hold that anger. That anger you expressed in the moment, and when you go to sleep, you know that disturbance happened and it's gone. It's flowed away. It's not entertaining in you anymore. It's gone. You expressed it, it's gone. When you go to sleep, you feel the harmony of life and the wonder and magic of all of this together. We're all one. That means sin not. You don't hold and harbor that anger when you go to sleep. You let that go. Do not entertain the feeling of regret or failure for frustration or detachment from your objective results in disease. Do not entertain the feeling of regret or failure for frustration or detachment from your objective results in disease. Think feelingly only of the state you desire to realize. Think feelingly only of the state you desire to realize. This one here. I want to be happily married and in love. Boom. Think feelingly only of that. There is a lot of distractions happening left and right and up the middle. Is there this thing called social media? Yes, there is. Does it come across on your mobile device? Yes, it does. How much? A lot of it. Depends on what you subscribe to. If you want to be distracted, there's plenty to be distracted by. And what will those distractions do? They'll keep you unfocused of your desire. They help pull you in every other direction, north, east, west, and south. They pull you everywhere but where you should be focused, on your desire. Unless you're here and single and you want to be happily married, I approve of what is that channel again? The Hallmark Channel. Okay, romance. Movies that end with very happy romance. There's nothing wrong with that because that's proper programming to keep you focused on your desire. I agree with that. Think feelingly only of the state you desire to realize. Feeling the reality of the state sought and living and acting on that conviction is the way of all seeming miracles. All changes of expression are brought about through a change of feeling. A change of feeling is a change of destiny. All creation occurs in the domain of the subconscious. All creation occurs in the domain of your subconscious. This is you not experiencing what you want to experience. All creation happens in the domain of the subconscious. What you must acquire then is a reflective control of the operation of the subconscious. That is, control of your ideas and feelings. Chance or accident is not responsible for the things that happen to you. Nor is predestined fate the author of your fortune or misfortune. Your subconscious impressions determine the conditions of your world. The subconscious is not selective. It is impersonal and no respecter of persons. Where does the subconscious come from? This is you. This is your current self-conception. Your subconscious here is coming from all that is. I am God. So your subconscious is no respecter of persons also. It takes whatever you give it and objectifies it. It doesn't matter what you give it. It's going to make real in your 3D experience that which you impress upon it. Period. You want to be careful what you are impressing. Even though your 3D world is showing you the limitation, it's showing you that relationship's not working out in your friends at work, in your friends at whatever. Other personal relationships you've seen are ending. That doesn't matter. That is not you. Your impression is the success of relationship is what you're impressing into your subconscious. Others are not your business. That's their experience, not yours. Your experience is the impression of I am happily married. I am that married self I am. I am that in love person I am. I am that happy, loving partner I am. I am always having fun with my relationships. I am. Your subconscious will take that impression, however you word it or however you phrase it, or it's based on feeling. You want to feel it. Whatever you feel, that subconscious is no respecter of persons, because that subconscious is from him. Him, all that is God, no respecter of persons. It will take what you deliver and it will go ahead and handily to him that hath it is given. And it doesn't matter if it's right or wrong. No respecter. It is given. Guaranteed. The subconscious is not selective. It is impersonal and no respecter of persons. The subconscious is not concerned with the truth or falsity of your feeling. It always accepts as true that which you feel to be true. What you feel to be true. Feeling is the assent of the subconscious to the truth of that which is declared to be true. Because of this quality of the subconscious, there is nothing impossible to man. Nothing impossible to man. Remember, if you are this self-concept, there is, all of his creations are done. So there is one where you are happily married. There is one where you're happily married with children in a new house. There is one where you're happily married with children in a new house, and you have a new car, and you have a wonderful career and job in addition to all the above. All of his creations are done. There's nothing impossible to man. Any and all exist. If someone else is doing it, there's nothing holding you back from impressing your subconscious and you also doing it. Nothing is in your way. Literally nothing, except yourself. Excuse me. Whatever the mind of man can conceive and feel as true, the subconscious can and must objectify. Your feelings create the pattern from which your world is fashioned, and a change of feeling is a change of pattern. The subconscious never fails to express that which has been impressed upon it. The moment it receives an impression, it begins to work out the ways of its expression. It accepts the feeling impressed upon it, your feeling, as a fact existing within itself, and immediately sets out to produce in the outer or objective world the exact likeness of that feeling, right into the objective world. Bridge of incidents. You all of a sudden meet the man who is, you meet the man who's going to be the father of your babies. You meet somebody and you just feel this electric feeling, and you're like, oh, this feels right. Well, I don't know what it is, but let me just keep going this way. The subconscious never alters the accepted beliefs of man. It outpictures them to the last detail, whether or not they are beneficial. It never alters the accepted beliefs of man. In this self-concept, let's say our would-be bank robber over here, he has desires from inside of him from all that is, who is no respecter of persons, is not judging what he does for his living of robbing banks. We're having fun here, okay? This criminal-minded person robbing banks has a desire inside to go rob another bank, to get that pallet of gold, to get that cache of a casket of gold coins. The desire from within is given to him because all that is no respecter of persons. God, I am, does not say you should. It doesn't go shouldn't on us. So the desire is as important and to solve the problem of this self-concept. This impression goes into the subconscious of this person, and the objective outer destiny, I say destiny, but it's a reality, then becomes the opportunity to find that perfect score, the perfect robbery, whatever it is. These movies are made night and day, you know. I forget the ones, but there's plenty. The subconscious never alters the accepted beliefs of man. It outpictures them to the last detail, whether or not they are beneficial. To impress the subconscious with the desirable state, you must assume the feeling that would be yours had you realized your wish. In defining your objective, you must be concerned only with the subjective. In defining your objective, you must be concerned only with the objective itself. The objective is to be happily married and in love. You must only be concerned with that objective only. You've gone into your meditation and you've seen it, what it would feel great to be happily married. I am happily married. I am. It feels great. Feels good to be with my partner. Feels good to go shopping. Feels good to go to the movies, to go to dinner, etc., etc., etc. The feeling, what does that feel like? The manner of expression or the difficulties involved are not to be considered by you. Never, ever, ever be concerned with how. Forget about how. Drop it. There is no how necessary. His ways are past finding out. To think feelingly on any state impresses it in, to think feelingly on any state impresses it on the subconscious. Any state. Therefore, if you dwell on difficulties, barrier, or delay, the subconscious, by its very non-selective nature, accepts the feeling of difficulties and obstacles as your request and proceeds to produce them in your outer world. You have been doing this perfectly all this time. You're already really, really good at it. Look at your current reality and at the limitations you're experiencing. You have put yourself there wonderfully by using perfectly your subconscious, by exactly what he just described. You're already good at this. You're already really good at this. And then you act surprised, but these are your feelings that you're trying to be surprised by. You're the one that used feelings to impress your subconscious with. And then you wake up and the objectification of that, let's say, not fun experience with the opposite sex ends up to be your experience. You're the one that impressed your subconscious with that. By believing someone else's story, by believing a movie, by taking that programming and putting feeling into it. I'm going to repeat, to think feelingly on any state impresses it on the subconscious. Therefore, if you dwell on difficulties, barriers, or delay, the subconscious, by its very non-selective nature, accepts the feeling of difficulties and obstacles as your request and proceeds to produce them in your outer world. The subconscious is the womb of creation. The subconscious is the womb of creation. It receives the idea unto itself through the feelings of man. It never changes the idea received, but always gives it form. Hence, the subconscious outpictures the idea in the image and likeness of the feeling received. To feel a state as hopeless or impossible is to impress the subconscious with the idea of failure. To feel a state as hopeless or impossible is to impress the subconscious with the idea of failure. Although the subconscious faithfully serves man, it must not be inferred that the relation is that of a servant to a master, as was anciently conceived. The ancient prophets called it the slave and servant of man. St. Paul personified it as a woman and said, the woman should be subject to man in everything. The subconscious does not serve man and faithfully gives form to his feelings. However, the subconscious has a distinct distaste for compulsion and responds to persuasion rather than to command. Consequently, it resembles the beloved wife more than the servant. The husband is head of the wife. May not be true of man and woman in their earthly relationship, but it is true of the conscious and the subconscious. That was Ephesians 5. The husband is head of the wife. May not be true of man and woman in their earthly relationship, but it is true of the conscious and the subconscious, or the male and female aspect of consciousness. The mystery to which Paul referred when he wrote, "This is a great mystery, he that loveth his wife loveth himself, and they two shall be one flesh," is simply the mystery of consciousness. Consciousness is really one and undivided, but for creation's sake it appears to be divided in two. Just remember, They shall be, and they two shall be one flesh. Inside of you is the male and the female. You have the womb of yourself and the male of yourself, the active principle and the passive principle, the outer and the inner, the conscious and the subconscious. These two exist in each of you, us. All self-concepts, we have that merry-making womb inside of us. This is a great mystery. He that loveth his wife, loveth himself, and they two shall be one flesh. It's simply the mystery of consciousness. Consciousness is really one and undivided, but for creation's sake, it appears to be divided into two. The conscious, objective, or male aspect truly is the head and dominates the subconscious, the subjective, or female aspect. The conscious or male aspect truly is the head and dominates the subconscious or female aspect. However, this leadership is not that of a tyrant, but of the lover. So, by assuming the feeling that would be yours were you already in possession of your objective, the subconscious is moved to build the exact likeness of your assumption. Your desires are not subconsciously accepted until you assume the feeling of their reality. For only through feeling is an idea subconsciously accepted, and only through this subconscious acceptance is it ever expressed. You have been doing this your whole concept. You have been doing this your whole self-concept. I'd like to say life, but I'd rather say self-concept, because in any self-concept, you have been doing this, otherwise you wouldn't be. You couldn't be unless you were doing this. From very young. What does a toddler have but feeling food? We don't know, and nor can we go and read the thoughts. Maybe some of us can. But what does it feel like to have that? They're reaching for that to put right here. They want to know what it feels like, I'm assuming here. It is easier to ascribe your feeling to events in the world than to admit that the conditions of the world reflect your feeling. Oh boy, I'm telling you, this is the first chapter and there's some heavy hitting things in here. It is easier to ascribe your feeling to events in the world than to admit that the conditions of the world reflect your feeling. It's easier to ascribe your feelings to things out here rather than take the responsibility for what you're feeling here. When you point out here, you're missing the mark. Why not take and assume responsibility for your creations, therefore take control of your creations by the idea of feeling it real? It's easier to ascribe your feeling to events in the world than to admit that the conditions of the world reflect your feeling. However, it is eternally true that the outside mirrors the inside. As within, so without. A man can receive nothing unless it is given him from heaven. The kingdom of heaven is within you. Nothing comes from without. Nothing comes from without. All things come from within, from the subconscious, right here. It is impossible for you to see other than the contents of your subconscious. Your world in its every detail is your consciousness objectified. Objective states bear witness of subconscious impressions. A change of impression results in a change of expression. The subconscious accepts as true that which you feel as true, and because creation is the result of subconscious impressions, you, by your feeling, determine creation. You are already that which you want to be, and your refusal to believe this is the only reason you do not see it. You are already that which you want to be, and your refusal to believe this is the only reason you do not see it. all of his creations are done. You are already that which you want to be. The desire wouldn't have come into this inside of you if it wasn't already a fact. You cannot feel what it is like as a desire unless it was already. Remember, all time is now. There is no sequence of time. We'll do a separate video on this someday. But all time is now. You can only really prove right now. There's no past and there's no future. But let's look at this again. You are already that which you want to be, and your refusal to believe this is the only reason you do not see it. If the desire is within you to be happily married and in love, in a wonderful relationship, then that already exists. All of his creations are done. If this didn't exist with you actually there, you couldn't have the desire. It would not be possible for you to have the desire if in fact it didn't exist. The you happily married, the you happily wealthy, the you happily healthy, the you happily in freedom. That's why it's very, very important that you do not ever be concerned with when you learn the law and start applying it for yourself. It doesn't matter what your age or anything else. It matters that you apply it, because there is a you that exists complete with those desires you have within you now. Otherwise, you wouldn't have those desires. The desire brings the solution to it as a problem. If this is one of limitation, the desire of this reality is bloomed in here. It's automatically embedded in here, but all you have to do is feel it. So you can put that into the subconscious. Then this marriage happens. The idea becomes a conception, giving birth to this reality. If this reality already exists, all you're really doing is taking your waking self that was here and waking up here in this reality. You're waking up in this new reality. It's objectified. The subconscious is the only part of you that will make that happen. But you have to impress that subconscious. Just because the desire is within you doesn't mean all this is automatic. I'm just going to go ahead and just sit back and just go like being on a tube on a river. Not going to work. You have to use your feelings to impress your subconscious. It's not happening for you. In fact, you've already been doing this already all this time. Quote unquote time. I know it doesn't exist. We're just using it for fun here. You are already that which you want to be, and your refusal to believe it is the only reason you do not see it. To seek on the outside for that which you do not feel you are is to seek in vain, for we never find that which we want, we find only that which we are. Wonderful sentence, I'm going to repeat it. To seek on the outside for that which you do not feel you are is to seek in vain, for we never find that which we want, we find only that which we are. In short, you express and have only that which you are conscious of being or possessing. To him that hath, it is given. Denying the evidence of the senses and appropriating the feeling of the wish fulfilled is the way to the realization of your desire. Deny the evidence of the senses. If you're here, you must ignore what you are experiencing and create within you the feeling of what it would be like to have, which is what you're not seeing in front of you. You have to drum up the feeling and impress the subconscious with what is not in front of you. If you're single, not married, and not happy with that situation, and you want to be married and happily in love, you must drum up in yourself the feeling of that, and then embed that into your subconscious. Thereby, the subconscious does the work. You don't have to be concerned with how. Objectifies, bridge of incidents, all of a sudden you're meeting, going on dates, etc. It seems to be, he's trying to tell us, Neville, that the feeling is the secret, isn't it? Isn't he? Okay, mastery of self. Mastery of self. Control your thoughts and feelings. Okay, control your thoughts and feelings is your highest achievement. Mastery of self, hyphen, control of your thoughts and feelings, hyphen, is your highest achievement. control of your thoughts and feelings. However, until perfect self-control is attained, so that in spite of appearances you feel all that you want to feel, use sleep and prayer to aid you in realizing your desired states. These are two gateways into the subconscious. There it is, chapter 1. What a perfect paragraph to end with. If you think about this, and I'm going to repeat it because it's so good. Mastery of self, know thyself, control of your thoughts and feelings is your highest achievement. If that's the truth of this, what is it going to take for you to become a master of your thoughts and feelings? And wouldn't you want to do that? Wouldn't that be your absolute highest priority, to control your thoughts and feelings? Because they are what dictate your experience. And if you want anything in your experience, marriage, you want health, you want wealth, you want freedom, anything in your experience is going to come about by controlling your thoughts and your feelings. However, until perfect self-control is attained, so that in spite of appearances you feel all that you want to feel, use sleep and prayer to aid you in realizing your desired states. You're feeling it, realize you fall to sleep. That's the SATS method. That's state akin to sleep. These are the two gateways into the subconscious: sleep and prayer. What a wonderful chapter. Oh my goodness. Chapter 1, Feeling is the Secret, 1944. That was The Law and Its Operation, was the title of that chapter. And man, oh man, that was a good one. I hope you got something out of there. If you did, great. Leave a comment below. Otherwise, we're going to see you in the next video.